Hi everybody, this is Judy at Judy in the Kitchen. I recently put up an article on my blog site and I want to bring it to your attention because it's something that we should all be aware of and familiar with. And the purpose of it is to inform us on how to properly use the crisper drawers of the refrigerator. Now, all modern refrigerators these days do have at least one crisper drawer. It might be one large one that runs across the width of the refrigerator. It might be two small ones. Sometimes you'll even have another third one in the middle of the refrigerator. And we may or may not be using them appropriately. Sometimes we'll just use them as an organizing drawer and bring produce home from the grocery store in the original bags and just throw it in whatever drawer. We might move the toggle lever back and forth, assuming that fruits goes one way, vegetables goes the other, even if the stuff is left in the plastic bags from the grocery store, and assume that everything is good. And sometimes we might even put other things in those drawers like beverage cans and use that as an organizational rack for our beverage cans of whatever sort you choose. So that's not really what they're intended for, but if you don't eat a lot of fruits and vegetables, hey, that may work right for you. But I wanted to point out the purpose of the drawers and some of the amenities that come along with them, because you may or may not be familiar with why they are there. A lot of the drawers nowadays will have a toggle lever that you slide back and forth, and that is for the purpose of opening a small vent that is in the drawer. Sometimes there will be the word high on one side and low on the other. And if it is high, that's referring to high moisture or humidity in the drawer. And when you slide that lever toward the high word, the high side, it will actually be closing that vent that's in the drawer. And if you slide it toward the side that says low, it will actually be opening that vent in the drawer, thereby allowing for a low humidity environment within the drawer. How does that work? Well, the refrigerator air is naturally very, very dry, but our produce is more water than anything else. So if we take them out of the bags, put them in the crisper drawer, and don't mess with that lever in any way, if it happens to be open, that dry refrigerator air is going to flow through that drawer and dry out the vegetables and cause them to age a lot faster. They may not be quite what you want when you go to use them in a few days or even in a week. So the purpose of that lever is to create whichever environment is most appropriate for the food that you're putting in the drawer. If there is no lever, no toggle vent to open or close, you need to automatically consider that drawer as being a high humid drawer, a drawer that's going to create a high humidity environment based on what you put in there. A lot of times if there's a drawer like that without a toggle vent on it, it's labeled for meats, and so you want to make sure that you don't mix meats, fresh meats, raw meats in with fresh produce, because that's a a good way to invite some cross-contamination and make yourself potentially very sick. So now, how does this work? There's a gas that a lot of produce will create, and it's a sort of a hormone that they release in the form of the gas, and it stimulates themselves to ripen. And this gas is called ethylene gas. And we know about this trick where you could take a ripe banana and put it in a paper bag with, let's say, a mature green tomato, put it in there with that banana, and that tomato is going to turn red and ripen up faster than if you just left it on the counter. It's the ethylene gas released by that banana that's going to stimulate that tomato to ripen up faster. So now there is a long list of foods that produce ethylene gas and those foods that do not. Now there is a tendency within these two categories for the foods to either rot or wilt. And that is the key. That is the easiest way to remember what to put in what drawer. If it has a tendency to wilt, such as your leafy greens, they will wilt if they're losing a lot of moisture. They need to be grouped together in a drawer that is a high humidity drawer, so it either has no vent or the vent is closed, okay? And that will create a high humidity environment in that drawer. As the moisture leaches out of those leafy greens over time, you'll notice some moisture accumulating within the drawer as long as that vent is closed. That's actually creating a high humidity environment for those leafy greens and will help them to stay fresh longer rather than seeing them wilt away and dry out. Now, those foods are sensitive to ethylene gas, and they generally do not produce ethylene gas. So by closing that vent, you're closing off the airflow from the refrigerator and preventing them from being exposed to that ethylene gas. So it's a twofold thing. One, we're locking in the humidity and we're preventing them from being exposed to that gas, which would cause them to age a lot faster. Now, on the other side of the spectrum, we have fruits and vegetables that tend to produce ethylene gas. We want to keep those away from the non-producers. Those foods will tend to rot rather than wilt, and they do better in a drier environment. So if you put them in the other drawer, have the toggle vent open, allowing that dry air in the refrigerator to flow through that drawer, it's going to move that gas around and keep the moisture down, the humidity level down in the drawer, and that will help to prolong the life of those foods. Examples of ethylene producing foods that will rot easily and need a lower environment in the humidity would be apples and pears. So in this article that I did put together, I do have a list of foods that you can combine together in the high humidity drawer safely, and ones that you can combine together in the low humidity drawer safely. So I'm not going to go into all those here because for the interest of time. But another point that can help you out as far as helping to preserve the foods that are in the drawers would be to line the bottom of them with either 2 or 3 layers of paper towels, or take a cloth kitchen towel and fold it up so that it fits well in the bottom of that drawer. And that will help to control the humidity level as well. If it's in the high humidity drawer, it will help to soak up some of the extra moisture so that it doesn't pool on top of the leafy greens, because that will cause them to age faster. And it will also help to soak up and wick away some of that humidity that's in the drier drawer and help to keep it off of the fruits and vegetables as well. So that's a tip for you, is to line those drawers with either paper towels or a cloth towel, and that will help in the function of those drawers. I have a link below to the article that I wrote about this, that also includes the long list of foods. So do check it out, print it out. It's not an all-inclusive list, but I've double checked, and it's a good guideline as far as what you can match up in which drawer and have your foods last as long as possible in there. Do let me know if you have any questions or comments below. I hope this helps. This is Judi at Judi in the Kitchen. Have a great day.